Good morning, good morning. A little bit dark in here this morning, isn't it? Hopefully I can tweak that a little bit for you. Don't know if that's any better. We might have to stay with a little bit dark. How is everyone this morning? We're live here on Bribey. It's Beks Thompson, Integrated Health and Personal Development Specialist. And I wanted to share with you some stuff today. Hey, lol. Around the fact that you know a lot, but are you implementing? Hey Tina, let us know if you're watching before we get started, and have a think yourself. Are there some areas in your life that you know you have tools, you know you have wisdom, you know you have knowledge, but you're not necessarily using it? And why is that? So whenever I do a live, it's always useful to have a bit of a pen and paper, because you can get some aha moments coming through and you think you're going to remember stuff and we don't. And this is one of the ways. Happy Wednesday, Tina. This is one of the ways that we forget what we know. And hey, Liz, because it's not about what you know. It's not about your knowledge. It's not about your wisdom that stops you from growing, whether it's in your business or whether it's professionally or personally. It's not what you know. Not always. There are some things we need to learn, right? But it's often, hey, Lorraine, it's often what you're not implementing, what you're not embodying. Right? Now, I know some very amazing people, and they are still struggling and still not making the progress that, say, I have made in my business, in my personal and professional life over the last, particularly the last 10 years, because they're not implementing what they know. All right, they're not implementing what they've learned. And when you are coming to often see someone like me or work with a mentor, work with a teacher, it's not always about learning, it's about helping you to implement. Right? Helping you to implement. So just let me know on here. Just say yes. Do you know more than you actually implement? Yeah. Do you get stuck because you forget the tools that you have, or you just find yourself too busy, or I don't know. We have so many different excuses, don't we? Hey, Therese. Hey, Taryn. Hey, Susie. So we've got everyone jumping on now. We'll start to get to the juice of what we're talking about. We're talking about that you know a lot, and why aren't you implementing it? Now, there are lots of reasons why we don't. There can be things around, hey, Taryn, there can be things around our worth that we don't feel that we are worthy of this. We don't want to create time for this. We think we should be doing other things. Now, that's another topic, but we're going to talk about how you can actually start to implement things a bit more. So say you want to shift your emotional state. Say you want to be feeling better so that you can start to take better action. All right? It's so true. There are 6 key areas that I talk about in my training and that I help my clients to understand, so that when you are feeling stuck, you can go, okay, what do I have in my toolbox that can tick one of these areas? Because you have 6 key areas in you, right, and in your life that need attention. And sometimes when we have a lot of tools, we can get overwhelmed with what we have and go, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do when, and then we do nothing. Whoever has that problem, let me know. Yes, Susie, right? Who has that problem where you have too many tools that you don't know what to do when? So the thing is, basically you can't go wrong. Just pick a tool. That's my first thing. If you're feeling stuck, if you're not where you want to be on your joy meter, on your activity meter, you can pretty much do anything and you will shift your state. But if you want to target in a little bit more, then we need to target in a little bit more on what we're doing. And so get your pen out. You've got 6 key areas to look at. What can you do, number 1, to shift your physical state? Your physical state. So shifting your physical state, this is usually movement, but it might be rest. So there are ways that you can dance. You can do your yoga. You can do your restorative poses. Yeah. What ways can you shift your physical state? All right. Now, you might want to shift your physical state for a number of reasons, because all of these things that we're going to talk about interweave and connect. So your physical state is not different to your emotional state or your energetic state per se, right? You can do something physical and you're going to shift your emotion and your energy. But we can still, the mind likes to put boxes around things. The mind likes to understand. Otherwise, you get overwhelmed and confused. So if you think physical, think movement. How can I shift my physical body to feel better? And just focus on that one thing. A second thing that you could do is your emotional. How do you shift your emotional state? So what tools do you have in your toolbox for shifting your emotional state? Well, the first question to ask emotionally is this a useful emotion that I'm having right now? Yeah, is this a useful emotion? Because sometimes we just want to be in that emotion and we don't need to shift it. And sometimes just by trying to shift it, we're in resistance. So when we're looking at the second one, emotion, there are a lot of things we can do, but the biggest thing we can do is to actually be with it. Like I say, and ask, is there something useful in this emotion? What is this emotion telling me? And that is often the biggest thing that will dissolve the hooks of that emotion. Because if we're in resistance to it and trying to shove it down, that's no good. So shifting your emotional state. And I'm going to give you some other 5 key ways that you can deal with all of this in a moment. So we're just looking at the 6 key areas. So the third area is your mental state. How can you shift your mind? If your mind is in whirlpools and vacillating and doing all sorts of things and keeping you stuck, you need to shift your mental state. What tools do you have to shift your mental state? Now, one of my favorite tools for mental state is mantra, because the mind cannot hook into mantra. And by mantra, we mean Sanskrit mantra. So there are lots of different Sanskrit mantras. If you've worked with me, you'll have some if you come to my classes. You can use affirmation, but you need to really feel affirmation. You need to really feel what it is that you are trying to shift and create. So if you are saying, I feel courageous, you need to bring that feeling of I feel courageous into your body. Remember a time when you felt that if you want to shift it. The beauty with mantra is that there's no story to it. Yeah, if it's something like Om Namah Shivaya, that's letting go of our story, that's burning up our resistance, that's getting to a higher place of intuition. And so if you say Om Namah Shivaya, your mind doesn't really understand that, but you can keep saying that and that will help to clear your mind. So that's the third one, how to shift your mental state. What tools do you have to shift your mental state? Fourth one, how do you shift your energy? All right, so that might be in terms of removing yourself from a situation. Yeah, that might be looking at your light globe. And we're not going to go into all the specifics of so many tools here, but if you've done some work around your energy space, your light globe, your aura, your bubble, you need to shift that, clear that space, expand that space, or contain that space. All right, but you can also shift your energy by obviously getting out in nature, by moving. Yeah, by listening to music. There are different ways that you can shift your energy by doing restorative poses. So this today is not about necessarily telling you the tools, but by going, okay, you have these different areas that you can focus on to shift. And one of them is your energetic state. The fifth one, up to 5, is your environment. Shift your environment. So if you're wanting to shift something, shift your environment. And that might be as simple as getting out of the dark grey cold office and out into the sunshine. That might be shifting the environment around the people that you're spending time with. That might be creating a special space for you to do your practice, but shift your environment. And the last one, number 6, is presence. How present are you? Are you in your head and out here, or are you in your body? And this is the number 1 tool, the number 1 key that you need to think of is how present am I right now? How present am I in my body? And if you've worked with me, you'll know that we talk about coming in, back and down in your body to sit deep into the pelvic center and hug the front of the spine, deep in the pelvic center. And when we're present here, we get a lot more clarity about what else we can do to shift where we're at. And everything just feels a lot easier to deal with. So these are the 6 things. If you are struggling to implement what you know and you have lots of tools, then you just need to run through this checklist. Do I need to shift my physical state? Do I need to shift my emotional state, my mental state, my environment, my energy? Or do I need to become more present? And you just pick one tool out of any one of those, because there are so many different things that can shift your state, but it can help your mind to go through that kind of checklist. Yeah, to see what you can do at any moment, because it helps us to fit those things into our boxes. So when I work with clients, we fit their different tools and put their different tools into these different boxes so that they have a cheat list, yeah, on their fridge or in their office or wherever you need it. Hey, Deborah. So they can go, okay, how am I feeling right now? What do I want to shift and what do I change, and what can I do in these 6 categories: physical, emotional, mental, environment, energy, and presence. Yeah, what can I do in one of those areas to shift me right now? So we have so many tools, like I say, and although they don't work linearly, they don't work in isolation, our mind likes to be able to categorize things. And so it helps us to have these different boxes so that we can go, okay, yeah, all right, I have these tools for shifting my physical state. I have these tools for my emotion. And if you don't have the tools, that's when you need to get the help, someone like myself or someone else who can work with you to give you those specific tools where you can shift all these different things depending on where you're at and what you need. So I hope that has been of some help. Hey, Jenny, if you're just watching and jump on now, then go back to the beginning in a moment and check it out. We've been sharing 6 key areas that you can go through like a checklist in your mind if you want to shift something. Whether you want to feel better in this moment, whether you want to get clearer in this moment, whether you want to get calmer in this moment, and you're not using the tools, you're not implementing them, then you need to give yourself a checklist to go through and go, what could I use in this moment to shift my state right now? And I want to give you an example today, just bring this up here. I'm having to do write some processes at the moment because I'm training an assistant, and I find that a really challenging task. And if anyone else has worked for themselves for a long time, let me know if you've worked for yourself for a long time. You'll know what I'm talking about when you do your own processes and you don't necessarily have it written down. You just calendar things and you know when you're going to be doing them and you just do them, right? Because you've trained yourself to do that. You know what you're doing. You've done it a lot. And I'm currently writing some processes and using a system which is a little challenging, right? And so I can feel myself starting to get up in my head. Someone else has shown me a way to use this system, but it's not fitting for me, right? It's just not a good fit for me. So I'm questioning myself and I'm looking at these systems going, how can I tweak this to work for me? And you might find yourself in this situation in lots of different ways, right? And so I'm on the beach this morning just going, okay, I'm so caught up in my head around this. What can I do to get myself out of this? And I could have used something to change my physical. I could have done movement, but I love mantra for the mind. If the mind is going off, mantra is amazing. And so I said to myself, right, stop going around in circles trying to find the solution. You've been thinking about this for days and you haven't got anywhere, right? Use your tools. And so I did. And I chose a mantra, Om Em Saraswatiye Namaha. And that is for enlightenment, if you like. Yeah, that's for the light bulb moments. It's for clarity, and in particular clarity and light and speech and technology, right? Saraswati is great. So I did a mantra. I did her mantra coming all the way down the beach. Om Em Saraswatiye Namaha. Om Em Saraswatiye Namaha. And at the end, I just got this drop in that I needed to shift this process to do it the way that I needed to do it, not to try and modify what someone else had taught me. Even if it's working great for them, I need to find my way of doing it, because my way of thinking, my way of doing, my way of being is different to theirs. So I could have stayed in my head trying to work out this problem, or I could actually use my tool. I stopped in that moment and go, right, what tools do I have? Physical, emotional, energy, environment, presence. Okay, well, I'd already shifted my environment. I was already walking. I'd already done some yoga the night before, and the mind was still going the next day about the same problem. So I came to my mantra. Yeah, shift my mind using my mantra. So if we don't use our tools, what is the point of having a toolbox? So to have this checklist of the 6 things to check through is so crucial, because then that helps you funnel in to the one thing that's really going to unlock the key to whatever door it is you're trying to open in that moment. So I have a lot more clarity. And then after that, someone rang me back, the beautiful Nicole, if she's watching. When you do mantra, it tends to unlock an opportunity, right? It dissolves an obstacle. So I then got this phone call from someone who uses this system. And basically she just verified for the same thing for me. She's like, yes, do this thing your way. Write it out all on paper first, then put it into the system. Yeah, because my mind needs to be able to follow it the way that my mind works. So it was just beautiful, where I'd been stuck in my mind for days around this, used my mantra, got the drop in of clarity that I needed to move forward, and then got that verified by somebody else, you know, that could really just give me the appreciation, I guess, and the feedback that, yeah, that was a great process. Someone who deals a lot with processes and I don't. So that's just the story of how I got clear. If you just jumped on with us now, Christina, Marianne, we've been on for a little while, and Jenny, explaining what the 6 key areas are to run through as a checklist in your mind so that you are implementing your tools. Because like I say, it is not about what you don't know necessarily. You know, there are some things that you don't know around personal growth, business growth, but you know a lot already and you are not necessarily implementing them. Right? I know this because of the hundreds of women I've worked with, and some of them great spiritual teachers, leaders, yoga teachers, healers, and they're not using their own tools, right? But if our mind has a checklist to work through to go, okay, can I shift something on a physical, emotional, mental, environment, energy, or presence level, then you've got something that you can kind of just work through rather than thinking of all your hundreds of different tools and not knowing what on earth to use and where, all right? And if all else fails, you just do something, anything, to shift you to a place where you have a bit more clarity, you have a bit more joy, you have a bit more presence, yeah? So I hope that's helped you in some way today, and let me know what you got out of that and whether you feel like, yes, it's a lot about actually implementing your tools, or whether yet, no, you do actually need more tools. So, you know, coaches, teachers, leaders like myself, we're here for both of those things, to help you implement, but also to teach you some of those things that you maybe don't know, you know, to fill in the areas of those blind spots. So if you're watching this and feeling like you really do need more assistance in helping you to get clear about what to do in different situations, or you do need some more tools and you're feeling really stuck and you want to dig yourself out of that hole, then that is my area of expertise, no matter what is going on in your life, to really be able to holistically coach you in every aspect of your life so that everything can elevate your health, your business, your relationships, and of course the impact then that you have in the world when you are not full of doubt or low energy or stressed or stuck in I don't know what to do. We want to get you out of that. So if that feels like something that you really need right now, then feel free to comment below or just send me a private message, because I do free discovery calls and set a few sessions aside a week for that. So we can do that with you, work out what is going on for you, see if we can give you an immediate resource and whether we're a good fit to work together at all. So have a great day, have a great week, everyone. We're midway through the week, so perfect time to remind you to use the tools that you have in your toolbox already, all right, and create space for that. Give yourself permission to take some time in and out of your day to use the tools that are going to elevate you to a place where you can be more impactful and more effective in everything that you do and have more joy and passion while you're doing it. All right, my loves, so good to see you all. Kelly, Vicky, thanks for jumping on. Christina, if I didn't mention you already. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you again soon. Bye.